I think. Yep, my other. Do I have more of these? If I take this off. Whoa. Oh, I'm gonna hurt myself. I better stop. I have brand new screen protectors. I just haven't put one on yet, and I keep on forgetting because it does this halo thing. I think there's a crack. What is going on, everyone? This may be the last barn live stream I do. It's starting to get chilly. I'm okay now. I am a New Yorker, so I can deal with the cool temperature a little bit. But as soon as I start seeing my breath, I'm going to be inside. I was just informing my son that so my old bedroom is right next to where my son's bedroom is currently, and it's an unfinished bedroom, so I'm going to have to do some stuff. But chances are I'm going to end up there doing the live stream and probably recording videos once it gets too cold out here to do them out here. So maybe next week, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'll try and tough it out. But he was not pumped about that because I said that I had to record. I'll probably be recording videos indoors, and if he's home, then he's got to listen to what is going on, everyone. I do feel for him. He's not the bold personality that I am. I don't think I'm overly bold, but he's definitely less bold than I am. So just the thought of this channel and everything that it takes to engage with people it's not his flavor. Come to North Carolina, we had a little snow. Yeah, no. So far it's been Indian summer here the past week. I mean, I had fans at work blowing on me because it was legit warm. It's just like it's November, right? It was, I mean, I'm okay with it. I am not complaining whatsoever, but it definitely was. It's a welcome surprise, but I'm sure it's going to turn here pretty quick. Pull this. We can let all the way. Oh no, that is no good. Yeah, I have knock on wood. So far, so good. I haven't broke anything internally on engines. 4-strokes. I don't know much about them, so definitely got to learn. I think when I have to get a hold of my engine builder, which friends of mine. So I'm going to go down to Shingle House, PA, at some point in time, take down engine number one of the clones, and I need springs put in it. And I think I want to pay attention when Mike's doing it, just so I get maybe it's something I could cover on the channel. Maybe there are some DIYers that would like to put springs in it, but without knowing what I'm doing, I'm not going to attempt it. It may be super simple. It probably is super simple, but I'm not like I said, I can change a jug, I can change a piston on a 2-stroke and simple stuff, but when it comes to the timing, the springs, the valves, all that jazz with 4-strokes, not my cup of tea. But yeah, 80 here in Easton, nice. See, I think I'm winning. I think I'm not. I'm not winning. It's not an argument anymore. For years and years, my wife was just like, "Oh, cut it out. We're not moving south. Blah blah blah." It's our family is here. But the longer we stay in New York, the longer we deal with winters. The longer we deal with taxation and such up here in the Northeast. I think she's over it, and I'm starting to. It's just little. I'm picking up little bits of hey, maybe I'm not going to spend my entire life in the state. We'll see. I hear there's more racing down south. That might be a great thing. Yeah. Okay. Yep. That's Hey Ben, would I be nervous to buy a new burst tire? No. From what I know, it was just a bad batch. During the summer, I know that they canceled the was it the Overton Memorial Race. It's a bummer. I get why they did it. It's a safety issue, and let's not even let's not get anybody hurt. But I not for nothing the Weed Sport went off. I'm fairly certain people are running new tires at Weed Sport, and that's a high grip track up here in New York, and not big track, but they lay down rubber pretty good. I think there's a lot of side bite, a lot of G forces on there, and from what I know, nope, nothing came out of those last couple of races to where they were beating tires. So I wouldn't hesitate. I mean, I plan on buying bursts this coming season for certain. I'm not going to be hesitant on that at all. So um, I'm not telling you to do it, but I wouldn't be afraid. Bursts is it. Companies will have problems, and I think they went through a problem, and if I know the verses, they correct the problem, and they're gonna do what they can to keep their company going. So that's um, I get it. I get why some people might be nervous, but I personally wouldn't be. I mean, I'd order some bursts today if I had the money to do so. So no big deal. 5 tracks within 2 hour drive. Yeah, that's awesome. That's that would be freaking sweet. I mean, I got a few around me. Um, yeah, now there's more. There's what they're champions being they found a promoter for champions, so that's an hour and a half for me. Dreamfield's like an hour and a half for me. Adrenaline Mountains in an hour and a half from me. Weed Sport, if I choose to do that, that's on Sundays. That's like 2 hours away, something like that. AMS is an hour from me. I have a bunch of tracks that I could do for clone racing. Like I said, plan on doing some UAS because I want to go to the nationals next year. 12 and a half hour drive isn't too awful bad to go to the nationals. So I intend to run the open a little bit more next year. Uh, Last time I ran it, engine ran flawless. So it's just a matter of me getting back on that horse of running an open. So there's that. You should try the World War in Jasper. Yeah, that's Jasper's an amazing track. When I was there in 2019 for the Grand Nationals, phenomenal facility. I loved it. I loved everything about it, with the exception of the fire ants. Of course, I'm a butthole, and I wear slides. No socks and the whole thing. And I got nailed a couple times when I was at Jasper. But other than that, great track, phenomenal facility. Absolutely loved it down there. Um, yeah, the more I can get down south, I would really like it. If I lived down south a little further, say North Carolina, Tennessee area, and I was, those races become a bigger possibility. But as it stands, I mean, top of Florida, it's probably 16 hours to Jasper for me here. Yeah, yuck. You've been a new set of Hoosier treads the other day. I honestly, I don't have. I've little to no experience with treads. My experience with treads was so long ago that I barely can even remember the days. And I ran Burris back in the day, so um, I don't even know how you would correct that. If they got a real bad wobble, or if it matters. That here the one thing I keep on mentioning that video, which is like almost 6 million views, but right now it's crazy, like 5.8 million or something. But I get a lot of it. I get it. I homemade surfacer, and my left rear rim that happens to be on is an old rim, and people just insist on commenting on the wobble that is there. Yeah, at speed. I'm not saying the wobble is a great thing to have. It'd be great to have a great rollout. It'd great to have it be as smooth as possible. Depending on what speed you're going, depending how rough the track is on. We do race on dirt, so a lot of the people that are commenting on that video, which I'm kind of correlating to this question is that we are on dirt, and I even though it may look like it's bad on a surfacer spinning it, whatever, when you race it, it might not be that bad. Um, you may not even feel it like that left rear, that the video and all that. I raced that tire the next weekend, and I can't tell you, I was racing, and I was going blah, 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 or anything like that. It's I think because we're on dirt, maybe because there's imperfections in the surface. Again, I'm not saying it's a great thing. It's always better to have straight rims, straight tires, straight everything, be as even keel as possible. But I think there is a degree to which you can get away with a little bit of boop, 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 that you're not gonna really notice, especially running lower pressure. Your tire's gonna move and get into the surface, to whereas if it was a purely hard, if you had 50 pounds of air in it, that would accentuate the wobble more than running a say a 3, 4, 5 pound tire, because you're going to squish into the earth, into the track surface. And I think you're probably not going to notice as much as you will by eye. Just my opinion on that. 16-hour drive would be a lot. Yeah. Yeah. So I drove to my best friend lives, or one of my best friends, I'll say that, lives just outside of Daytona. And in how long ago was it? 10 years ago. It's 10 years ago. I made the pull down there. Drove straight through the night, every 18 hours. It went from me to Daytona is just about dead on 18 hours driving straight through. Potty breaks, what have you. I did have an incident in North Carolina in the wee hours of the night. No gas stations open. Didn't really need gas. Had to pull off. Was gonna get gas. Hoped to use the gas station bathroom. Didn't find that. Some back road in North Carolina, there's a disintegrated pair of underwear. I don't know how I got there. I don't know what happened, but something nasty, something something vile, something that needed to happen, and there was no there was no resolution except for what had to happen. So, so I'm sorry, whatever side of the road that was in North Carolina somewhere. Mm. My wife hates it when I tell that story. She's like, "You're so gross." I'm like, and my that that trip down to my best friend's wedding, that is one of the first stories that his wife ever got to hear out of my mouth. I had never met her before. He had met her. I mean, a quick engagement and a fairly quick marriage. Within a year, they decided it was time and everything. So as I went down there, I was telling the story, and it is one of the very first stories that she ever heard from. I've been friends with Jamie for now 30 plus years. At the time, it was just shy of 30 years, and his new bride, who to be new bride, had to hear that story come out of this mouth. Oh God. Yep, it happens. That's it. Time to go before next season, but when would you buy tires for next year? Um, it depends when what kind you're buying. Geez, I don't know. The quick answer is I don't know, because there is thoughts on that now. It depends on what track you're running, and if newer tires are faster than older tires. Now, there is an argument to be said if you're talking about the Maxxis game. You're gonna want to scuff them. You're gonna want to heat cycle them, and get prep into them and all that in order to harden up the tire a little bit. There's a whole process behind a Maxxis that I don't quite understand, but they're it's definitely a cycle to it. Now, Burris Vegas, I've never ever had that problem. It's rare that I need a Burris to have a be cycled like that. Um, I'd say Reapers remains to be seen. I've heard that people like them to be older. to be treated the same as a Maxxis. But then again, I've also heard people say that they're good to go out of the wrapper. So I'd say Vega yellows are just good to go anytime. I ran old Vega yellows. Oh, I say old. They were brand new, and they had like one run on them. Last time I raced, they're, in my opinion, Vega yellows are probably the most durable, easy to use tire on the market. That's my opinion. It's just because I ran them for so long in UAS. I wouldn't, if you buy them now, cool. If you buy them right before you run them, cool. I don't, I've never seen a difference with Vega yellows. Um, doesn't mean there isn't one, but I've never seen one. Burris, I'd probably buy Burris, closer to the beginning of the season. I believe that some tracks that, if it's a burst track and it light, or the track likes, say, a burst 33 or SS of 11, that they're going to want a little bit of fresher tire. Um, just my opinion on it. What I've seen, what I've experienced, older tires tend to harden up a little too much. They don't grip nearly as well. Uh, just my experience with it. But yeah, with the exception of the Maxxis, and that's good. I know you asked about Vega yellows, but that, with the exception of the process that is a Maxxis tire, in order to make a Maxxis tire really, really good, with the exception of that, I'd say you can wait till, not last minute, but before the season, before you get new stuff. Um, with it, whether it be Burris or whether it be Vega. They're I don't think you're going to give up that much speed, if any, with new stuff. But just my opinion on it. That's all I offer here. How often do you change bearings? I If you're just a regular Saturday night racer, if you change your bearings, unless you see some wobble and unless you see some concerns, uh, I don't know, once a season. I mean, change them out just to be fresh. It's If anything, it's just a good idea. Is it necessary? No, I ran the same bearings all season long. I don't, did I give up a ton of speed in bearings? I don't think so. It was more so tires and everything else. Um, could I have and should I have? Probably. It probably would have been a good idea to refresh my bearings, but I was working with a very small budget this year, and I was concerning myself with more of entering competitions, races, and getting experience on the clone more than being up front per se. Of course, everybody goes to race, but I think time is behind the wheel is better than not. So I would, if you're a regular Saturday night racer, it wouldn't be a bad idea to at least rear bearings, check your front hubs. Just make sure every week you're going over, checking stuff, making sure there's no real, shaking or anything like that going on. Um, everything. I'd show you my stuff. Everything's dirty. I got super lazy at the end of the season. Everything needs, like, I think I said this a couple weeks ago, everything needs to be torn down. So I was being lazy. Yes, I didn't wash stuff, but it's not the way I usually do it. But everything I have needs to be torn down to the frame and gone over. So I decided not to wash it because I got to clean stuff anyway. So normally I'd show you stuff, but everything's pretty filthy still. Uh, Where is in Yellow Vegas? In it. Yep. Where? How far out do you usually run my left front? Uh just to clear. Screw it. It's dirty. I haven't taken the tires off. This is my open. Are we going to be able to see that? Hold on. I got to get it to light. This was in the trailer until just last weekend, so you'll have to excuse me with like I said, how lazy I have been. Um, but I just have it clearance. You see that? It just has to be clear to not hit the steering. See how dirty? Ugh, look at that. Ugh. Yeah, my nose is broken too. This whole thing. When I hit Ernie, it went into my engine. he got loose in front of me. It happens, but yeah, no. Ooh, yeah, man, that's rough. Oh, yeah, that popped up. Oof. That's so much to go through. But yeah, no, just as long as your left front is clearanced on your steering arm, um, you can play with that if you want. Like I've said, made videos before about it. The further apart your front end is, now it does affect the dynamics of weight transfer and stuff like that. So you have to be careful. But the narrower your rear end is to your front end, the better drive off a corner you have, the tighter you will become. If that's what you're looking for, if you're super loose off, like you can super loose off a turn or something like that, you can, spread your front end out, move your left front out a little bit, and that, that has that increase. But it does when you get into playing with moving things on your front end or rear end, it affects transfer rate. So sometimes you get some unintended consequences. I still have to make a video on that, racing in general is a lot of yin and yang, that you may gain something. Nothing is ever completely positive. Whatever you're gaining in one area, you're conceivably losing in another area. The tighter you make an entry, it might make your exit looser. Things like that. So you have to balance. It often, also pertains to track and racing. Paradise Speedway, for instance, the big quarter mile that I used to, my used to be home track, my favorite track of all time. Big, fast quarter mile on the inside, 3/8 in the line, just super fast track. Two different, completely different corners. You either set up for one and give up in the other. That is the way it is. So the way I always set up my cart was I made 3 and 4 as drivable as possible. Now, what happened, the yang to my yin, the yin to my yang, was that it made 1 and 2 so unbelievably free. You had to be very, very careful, or else you'd just lose it. So I'd keep on freeing the chassis up until it just, I was so much faster in 3 and 4, nobody could keep with me. And then I just babied it coming off a 2 because I knew how free the cart was going to be. And you have to you just have to be careful that the yin and yang, that I was willing to sacrifice one corner to have speed in the other corner, because it means that I can drive it so much harder into 3 to come out of 4 with as much speed as possible. 1 and 2 was tricky, man. I was, I did the video, if you're in the track or on the track, and I was on the track. It was so unbelievably loose, but it made me extremely fast at that track. It was, one of the things that my buddy Tommy and we'd talk about that, as far as setup, like it was just something I was willing to give up. I was willing to give up speed in 1 and 2 to be fast in 3 and 4 because I knew I could drive it that way. Um, Yep. Thoughts on titanium rotational weight? I think Wesley and I, when we're talking before, there's a pro and a con to it. The pro is that, again, with the yin yang. The pro is that your takeoffs are going to be, you're going to maximize power to weight ratio. You're going to maximize coming up to speed. You're going to maximize restarts and things like that. Jumping off the corner, if you get a line on somebody, chances are you're going to have that little extra oomph. Now, what you lose is that same rotational weight that you gave up in order to get that burst. You're going to give up getting into the chute. So there is a bit of the rotational weight that you might want to preserve, because it carries momentum in the drivetrain through the turn, into the next turn and through the center of the corner. Uh, it, I'm trying to find an analogy for it, but I probably don't have a good one. But that's in general. Are you gain? It depends on driving style. It depends on how much corner speed you're willing to drive in with, and what you're comfortable with. A lot of people are willing to give that up. They want that burst. If you get a restart and you can get away and then maintain your speed, but there's something to be said for momentum with that little bit of extra weight carrying you through a turn. So that's I don't have any titanium stuff. So I have no. This is just theory, and obviously, what I was conversing with Wesley on. Um, he knows a little bit. He knew a little bit more about it, but I've never run titanium, so it's a guess. So there's that. Yeah, oh yeah, it's moving. What? And did I ever hit 80? No, I hit 79.6 mile an hour getting into the turn at Paradise. Now, you know, there might be faster speeds out there, Possum Kingdom, this and that. I probably have gone faster. I went to Possum Kingdom one time. But you have to keep in mind that those were big sweeping turns, and you were doing 55, 60 in the center of the corner. So, I mean, how fast did I turn a lap? Was I 16 second or was I 15.1? No, no, I think the micro sprints, the 600 cc's were 15.1, and I was like a 16 flat or a 16.1 or something like that in my open. I was only a second off them. I mean, there's 600 cc's, wings, the whole nine, all that stuff. And in my open, I was only a second off their pace, which was freaking moving, man. And I remember I was tight that day, but it was just had so much grip. I think I wasn't loose in 1 and 2, but it was so much grip. It was a lot of fun. When you Sometimes when you're going super fast, it does not feel fast. And you come off the track and you hit your recall, you're like, holy crap, I was moving, man. Uh, Keep in mind, aluminum is lighter than titanium. Yep, yep. The you get into flex. That's definitely a thing. Why we don't run. There are titanium axles. I know this for a fact. Um, we don't run aluminum. I'm sure people have, and I'm sure road course is definitely a thing. There's a durability issue, I think, with keyways and what have you, because aluminum's soft or can be soft. And then there's a flex rate in the axle that you're starting to monkey with stuff. The chassis design, when they design these chassis, when they test these chassis, they're running all steel components. They're running the components that we're used to. So it's not that you can't play with stuff like aluminum axles and what have you, but it it starts to mess with the handling of the cart, because the cart was designed around these certain parameters. So it's just more power to anybody who gets an aluminum axle to work. But I think the titanium. I had a discussion with oh shoot, who was it? No, I'm drawing a freaking blank. Uh, I'll think of it in a second, because I always do that every time I go to say a name. Carmody. I was having a conversation with him that actually the titanium axle flexes more and is able to gain more grip on things, but you're also talking about like a $900 rear axle. I'm really good at wrecking stuff, and oh, that would make me sick if I bent something like that. Oh my goodness gracious. Uh, so no, that's out of my realm. But yes, aluminum is lighter than titanium as far as I know. But titanium keeps, or is definitely a better flex rate than aluminum. Um, so benefit about refreshing your. I would say a rear axle isn't probably the biggest deal to replace. Can you? Absolutely. If you have the funds to do so, will it help your program? Possibly. I would concern myself more about rear bearings and things, wear items. That the rear axle, yes, it does flex. Yes, it takes some damage. Unless you bend it, though. I think I've replaced a rear axle twice. Um, you might get that suggestion from some manufacturers, but those manufacturers are also talking about your big races. When I talk about money races or state races or anything like that, there is speed to be gained with new parts. It's just it's kind of simple fact. Brand new stuff just performs better than used stuff. For your average Saturday night racer, would I be concerned about a rear axle? I wouldn't. I would be more concerned about changing your bearings more frequent. That's going to make a bigger difference than changing your rear axle. It's still pretty thick. unless you get into a wreck or visibly can see that it's damaged or it's causing an issue. I wouldn't worry about a rear axle. So I they some people will suggest it. Some people will say, oh, you got to do it, and I don't think that's a wear item. I don't think it makes as big of a difference as some people make it out to be. The same with the flex rate of or giving up flexed out on a cart chassis. Does it happen? Yes, but it's incremental. I mean, again, you would find the wear items are the things that like bearings and Heims and all that stuff. Front spindles, they're those things are way bigger deal than a chassis or a rear axle is going to be. Yes, sir. I love the content. Oh, you're very welcome. No, thank you very much for being here, for watching. That's I, so I did. I'm still a little. It's weird. I will say thank you to everybody. It's just something I do. Something I'm passionate about. Something I love to do for people. Answer questions, respond to ridiculous questions. Sometimes it's fine. It's just weird that I want to say I'm a public guy because I'm not arrogant. But it is weird. It's when you get so many thank yous, it's just like, man, it's me in my barn. This I got wood up there that I didn't want to throw away because there might be a piece that I could use someday for something. It's just I'm comfortable in front of the camera for whatever reason. It's taken years to get this way, but it's been a trip. I My wife, she just like I'm not arguing on the internet, but some of the comments on that video, she's just like, "You're still going with it." I'm like, "It's still climbing. People are still commenting, and I am getting into not arguments, but I think it's hilarious. Some people and their opinions on what this and that, and it's just like, man, not that trust me, I do, I know what I'm doing. Trust me. Am I perfect at it? No, but like they're just random people just hitting me with, like, "Yeah, take that. I'm an internet dude. And, now you're on video, so I get to insult you." It's just like, man, I am legit a nice person. I think that I convey myself that way. I try and be that way. I try and be respectful, but boy, there's only so many insults I'll take before I'm like, hey, pay attention. Uh, Steel does not have fatigue. They use. Yeah, I would agree. It's you typically God, there would be an argument to say if you're trying to run something from the 90s, as far as fatigue life and steel, it more so that there is the longer you run a chassis, the more the ability is that people say never been wrecked, you've never spun out, you've never hit the wall, you've never just glanced off somebody. Every time our left rears especially, just that one tube sticking out of there is very susceptible to being bent. It's being moved, and that can affect the characteristics of handling on a chassis, which is I'm almost starting to think something's up with this scythe. Um, I changed the setup on it, and it's a way different setup, and it's behaving similar. So I'm wondering. I don't recall wrecking pretty hard, but I've wrecked it. I've been in some bangs, and I'm wondering if I did something to it at some point, and that's why I've lost so much speed in the cart itself. So that's the teardown's coming this winter, and oh my, that's after doing that video this past week about new chassis. Is that still up there? Yeah. New cart or refurbish. It's just like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have new carts? I'm more than willing to deal with what I got and refurbish what I got. It's fine. It is what it is. I've always urinated with the member that I've had, peed with the PP I got. But boy, looking at some of the chassis, the Demon, the Asylum, I like that. I just it's a good looking chassis. Obviously, the Phantom coming out with their new ride pretty soon here. You know, the everything coming out. It's just I get looking at these chassis. I'm like, oh. um. So, well, thank you. I appreciate it. That's I will tell you this, and you know, people have raced me before. I'm a fierce competitor. If they're, you know, that's I am not afraid to rub fenders. I try and be fair. I these past couple years, I've been more generous with space on the track. It's I've been in enough dust ups with people. I've had enough conversations, uncomfortable conversations after track. I again, I hope nobody ever considers my niceness for weakness, because that is I can assure you I can be as aggressive person as you need me to be. But the older I get, the more I respect the art of racing. The more I there's it's been an experience in the clone, because there's times when this attitude, that this, you know, giving people a little extra grace on track will cost you in a clone, and it's been an adjustment. I You know, when I ran this open this past time, you know, I give that grace because I know how quickly things can happen in an open, and it can be very it can be violent. Yeah. uh Pastor Sim, I think. Yep. I love it. The helping others is where it's at. This is part of the UAS. Mark Bergfeld, you know, is definitely been an instrumental part of that. That you can be fierce competitors on track, but somebody breaks something, somebody needs a chain, somebody needs, hey man, you know, this is off, that is off. Do you have a rim? Do you have? It has always been the way of the UAS, and that's where you know, I did most of my racing. That's where you know, I love the bench race. I love to come over. I love to talk about setup and, hey, what's it doing? You know, have you considered, you know, helping your competitors? Because if your competitors are here, um, it forces you to go get it. I love competition. I love that, you know, that's I'm more than willing to help people, because when you face people at their best, it brings out the best in you. Just my opinion on it. I know that a lot of people don't want to give up secrets, and I get it. You know, because your advantage is gone. But it's I don't know. Like I said, the older I get, the more I just appreciate the competition of it, more than anything. Um, Started last year not knowing much about it. That's awesome. Yeah, Alan. That's Alan sends me videos sometimes, and his kids do phenomenal. I really like that track, Asheville. Um, Seems like a super nice place. Um, Maybe sometime, you know. Yes, yeah, yep. Uh, oh, as the engineer thing is what I was getting. Yeah, clone is a whole new ball of wax, man. I gotta do a video. Are tires that important? Yeah. As unfortunate as, you know, is that I don't I want driving ability. I want setup, and it's all valid. Everything's valid. Everything has to go together. You have to have one to have the other. But nailing your tires cures a lot of ails, man. It really does. You just it feels like the cart is driving its damn self, and you're like, whoop. Thank you very much. I try and give it, like I said, you know, I'll say it over and over again. I will never knowingly point you in the wrong direction. Anybody for that matter. Some of my information may be incorrect. Maybe some my you know, the way I'm thinking may not exactly work. But I don't tell people to do stuff that I know is going to fail them. It doesn't. it's not a good look for me. If I go out and, oh, you got to buy this and do this because this is the fastest way, and then somebody can't make it work or it doesn't work for them or whatever it is, it's not a good look. It really isn't. That's you know uh, I have these terms and these things that I always say that I don't stand on a soapbox and I'll never I don't want people to fail on my watch. I want you to, I can't give you every answer because I don't know the answer to your particular problem all the time, your particular track, your chassis, your tire setup, all that stuff. But if I can get in your brain a little bit and get you to think about, well, instead of just listening to this one guy that says you got to do this, why is he saying that? Why would you think like that? Maybe you could run it this way. Maybe that will be better. I try and lead people to come to their own conclusions, and learn on their own. And the only way, just get you pointed in the right direction to where you're like, hey, that makes sense. Got it. Just those who can't do teach. It's really becoming the slower I get on track. I don't know that I've gotten slower. Maybe I have. That's my physical ability is failing me, so now I try and teach people on the internet. Uh, yes, the family aspect is absolute. I seeing kids run around, some people get upset, they're tossing the football around, not playing, paying that much attention to racing. That stuff doesn't matter to me because they're there with their family. They're being kids. They're meeting up with their friends at the track. I'm sure those kids love that time. And I'm sure the parents, even though the dad's probably competitive and like, hey, little Joey, pay attention to what you're doing here. You got to be able to set this card up. I totally understand that, but just being there with your family, being, invested in that you take, every Saturday night off, or maybe it's not every Saturday, but you go to the racetrack and families get to be together and experience that, have food, and just being together is awesome. The competition's a bonus, it's racing is the bonus. Have you ever raced a Briggs 206? I have not. That if yeah, I don't know much about it. I wish Briggs had a bigger. I mean, they have the animal. The animal. I thought the animal would always take off because it's a little more horsepower. It's we always considered when we're running KT 100s. Um, they had run at the local at Paradise. They had run. People would come up with animals, and they're just about 18 horsepower ish, give or take, which is what a KT 100 two-stroke is. And we could always go and put a heck of a race on, but it's weird. Why Briggs and Stratton doesn't. I think they just can't cost wise keep up with what clones and obviously now the Predators and Ghost engines are going with. The cheaper Chinese stuff is it's hard to compete with because everybody's they still uh, they're counting their pennies trying to get the most out of their dollar. So bodies, fiberglass or plastic? What do I run and why? I run fiberglass. The only reason I will, I've never really thought about. I ran an M&M, M&M, and M&M body at one point in time. It was heavy, and what I found was the sides of the nose. And I'm not criticizing them. Some people love them. Some people get them to work. I've seen them work before. No shade here. But it drooped on the sides, and I chased that. I was running a slack reactor the year that I ran the M&M nose on my open, and it was scrubbing. I didn't realize what was going on. When I would lift off the gas, the nose would dive slightly like they do on opens, and it was the nose was planting into the ground and just tight everywhere I took it. I made so many changes to that cart. I couldn't figure out what was going on. It wasn't until I actually blew through the left front corner that I realized it had been scrubbing the entire freaking time. So I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying that I'm in my opinion, and repairable. So if you smash into something, you get a hole in your nose, which I got a Chavis body over here that I was pretty rough on all season. The nose has some issues. I'll probably do a video on it. I'm gonna grind and will I grind? Yeah, I use the lap disc on it. If you grind away, you go get some tiger hair or resin and fiberglass mat, whatever it is you want to do, and you can repair the fiberglass and save yourself a bunch of money. You don't have to cough out $300 or whatever it is for a body with shipped to you or whatever it is. There, it's repairable. That's it doesn't fiberglass repair is not that hard to get itchy. Oh, here's another thing. Wear a mask when you're you would not believe, the video, and I scrubbed off some of the dirt, with a brush. I hope you're wearing a mask. It's just like, do you know what I do for a living? It's like I wear a mask at work because I work with Bondo and fiberglass and all that, working on cars. But it's just like I think that a lot of people watching that video are pencil pushers or people that work at desks, and it's just like, man, I I can't. The My hands are calloused. My nails are dirty. Uh, that's I have a physical job. I can assure you that the little bit of dirt or the rubber that's coming off the tire is the least of my concerns, and I'm not like huffing on it. It was. I'm sorry to go off on that tangent, but it's been weird. But I think that fiberglass is more repairable than plastic. Yes, you can always Frankenstein a plastic body though. If say you get a split in it, just drill holes either side and then take zip ties and you can zip tie it. It just doesn't look that great. Can you repair plastic? Absolutely. But like I said, I work on cars. I repair plastic bumpers quite a bit. And unless you use some really good 3M industrial type urethane adhesive, plastic is much harder to repair than fiberglass is. If you get a good etch, if you some 36 grit or even 80 grit or whatever, you grind away and then sand the fiberglass with a little bit of coarseness. You got to leave something for the resin to bite into. You can much more easily repair that with that. So, just my opinion on it. Yeah. Oh yeah, I got to fix this nose too. I got two noses fixed this year, which sucks. It's okay, but it should give me some. It'll give me a video to make for everybody. I can show you exactly how I repair them. Fiberglass will make you itchy, for what it's worth. If you have any bare skin, wear your mask, wear a dust mask of some sort. When you grind it, if you have open skin, if you're doing it in a t-shirt or whatever, and you get any kind of grinding of fiberglass on you, you will itch, and you probably should shower. Don't touch your loved ones with itchy skin. My wife is not appreciative of that. Yeah, with all the might think I will, if everything lines up, swap meet this spring. I think I'm gonna get rid of a bunch of tires. I might just give away some of my older burrs because they might be good to somebody. I know that so at AMS, um the past 2 years, the Predators have been an open tire class. And I think their intent is to make it because AMS is a burst track, is to make it a burst class. Uh, which in the springtime and fall time, 11s are typically the tire of choice there. But I have a whole bunch of 2019 burst 33s. I'm probably just gonna give away because like 5 years old. They're gonna be 6 years old here pretty quick. Um, they worked all right. I didn't. There was speed in them. I just think that I need fresh for this year. If I'm going to be, this year was the learning aspect of the clone. And this coming year, I want to be more competitive. So I definitely got to be up to date on my tires. Uh, It's going to be. I think when it comes to open tire stuff, I think I'm pretty good on my Vegas. I know what I'm doing there, but I'm going to need some fresh 11s. I'm going to need some fresh 33s for this coming year. So unfortunately, there's even if I only have bought two sets of $600, it's like, but I do. I got some Reapers. It'll be a good time. Okay, what do we got here? Tire pressure. We start with is six right, four left, 2 pound split. I mean, you can. Uh, I will tell you that usually this is not always, but usually it depends on what track you're at. So hard, fast track, yes. I usually only do 1 pound split in between sides. So if I was running six right, I would be on five left. Um, so and then move it accordingly. But for instance, anytime this did I don't think I ever went over 4 pounds right all season long, but I'm in the Northeast. Depends on what track you're on. Uh, but very regularly will I go down to say three right, two left. Um, that's or sometimes you split the difference, get three and a half, two and a half, or But did I ever go? I don't think I ever went below three on my rights all year long. But 3 and 2 is a very real starting point for me on my open on burst 11s. I think I bumped them up a little bit with the 33s because the track was hard and fast and getting to be black. So I think I was on 5 and 4, or was it 4.5 and 3.5, something like that. But yeah, that's you can do whatever you want. The closer you get your split, the tighter it will be. So technically, if you're running that much of a split, you're making the cart freer. You're causing more discrepancy between the two sides. So if you're running a cart and you're running 6 and 4, and you wanted it just to be a slight bit snugger, bump the left side up to five, or reduce your lefts down and put it within a pound, and it's going to tighten the whole car up. And then again, if you want it to be even more than that, then make them even all the way across. Make them all six. Make them all four. Make them all your tire pressures the same. I got one. I got one win on the clone, and it was the very first race I ran in the clone this year. My own clone stuff. Um, I almost pulled it off a second time. The very last time I ran the clone again, it was a similar situation. It was cooler. I perform better for whatever reason when the track is colder, heavier, things like that. I tend to. I came from fifth. I got up to second. I think I just ran out of laps, and nothing, taking nothing away from Outman there. The kid did a great job holding his line, running as smooth as could be. But I felt I was coming. Just ran out of laps. But I only got one this year. I was hoping to make it two. There was a race somewhere in the spring too that I had a chance at the win, and I really screwed it up by letting myself get bogged down there again. The aggressiveness, trying to mind my p's and q's, trying to be a gentleman on track sometimes costs me. And when I give up spots, it's hard for you to get them back in clone. But it's a different racing. They're the people who have run opens all these years, and you're gonna hate it. You're gonna want to go. That is not true. I don't want to say I like clone racing more than I like open, because there's just something about having that amount of horsepower that is just absolutely amazing. But I will tell you this: that you're not going to get nearly as tired in a clone. You can make it as intense as you want it to be, but you're you're splitting hairs with speed. You have to be Johnny on the spot. When you mess up a corner on an open, you can recover from it. By putting together another lap, and then all of a sudden, if you nail the next lap, you got rid of what you gave up. In a clone, that is much harder to do. You know, when you're talking about, tenths of a second, there you can't give up too much on a clone. It's a very much more precise type of driving compared to the open. It's not that you can't be precise in an open. It's just it makes a way bigger difference. I find both of them extremely enjoyable. I take nothing. It's just a different skill set. It really is. It's trying to maximize your horsepower in a clone is a very real thing. You can't kill speed. You can't scrub speed. You can't give up too much to your competitors, or else you're in trouble. Uh, Handling human development. Um, you can do this. And matter of fact, I did it. I bent a left rear rail on one of my recons one time. Tear it all down, and I mean everything. You got to get off, seat bars, get it right down to the bare frame, and you put it on a flat surface. I have a concrete surface here. It's pretty darn flat. Or at work. I have one too, and then I think I did it there. I tore everything down right to the bare frame. I set it down, and then you're going to be able to, if you step on part of it and it rocks, or you're going to be able to, get down at its level and look and see if a rail is up or down. Front end geometry going to be a little harder to tell if that's bent or not, because there is a certain amount that the front hoop is going to be up or down in the front end. I'm merely talking about from the waist, so right about where your steering post is. Back is has to be flat. It has to be flat to the ground. If there's a lot of rock there, you're going to have problems. Um, I don't know. I suppose it could be tacoed, but yeah, in general, you're gonna, in order to tell if it's bent or not, or if you're on the scale, you were scaling at 62% the entire year, you got in a bad accident, and now you're scaling at 52%. I would be willing to bet that that left rear rail is up. It's not pushing, keeping that left rear tire down. But I would say physically looking at it on the ground or scaling are the two ways that you would be able to tell a frame is bent. Uh, cool. Yes. Anything else here? Yeah, jibber jabbering around. But yeah, if any of you are on my Facebook, you notice I've been uh, sharing a bit of the Demon Racing chassis. They, I don't, it's not a secret or anything like that. That they reached out and they were just like, hey, I'm a fan of their work. Again, that as silly as it is, the name Asylum really got me. I really love that. I think that's a great name, and I don't want to call them an underdog. I like the price point. I like the design aspect. I think Denver Smith, I believe, is the name, the engineer in DSE. I've been sharing this stuff because I like it's obviously I run Phantom. And they make high quality parts, but I love a smaller manufacturer trying to get a foothold in the industry and really make a difference. And I think the price point is right. The quality of the chassis looks fantastic. So if you're wondering why Mr. Ben Taft is sharing stuff for DSE or Demon Racing chassis. That's why, because I like helping people. That's if anybody asked me to do that, I would do it. They reached out and asked about it, and I was like, and I didn't even agree to do it. It's just like, what, I absolutely will help you. Um, I want to see people succeed. I want to see Phantom succeed. I want to see Hermes Sadler, racing chassis premium succeed. I want to see Demon Racing chassis succeed. Um, the Legend, I just spoke to them the other day. Legend Racing chassis, I want to see them succeed. I want everybody in this industry to succeed. I am, yeah, just because I run one particular chassis does not mean I dislike any other chassis. It doesn't mean that I'm, because I prefer one tire, Vega, over all the other tires, doesn't mean I won't run the other tires or that I don't support the other tires. I think that Reaper, Burris, Maxxis, all of them have their benefits. They have their time, and I want everybody to succeed. I want the sport to grow. I want people to continue to race, and I just thought I'd throw that in there. I sometimes I feel weird because I share people's stuff, and I think, no, man, I'm trying to help. There's nothing nefarious about this, you know. I legit want them to help, and I think that especially back on the demon thing, that they came out with the price point $3,200 for a chassis. Now $3,200 might be a lot for somebody who can't afford it. Okay, comparatively, to some of the bigger chassis manufacturers, it is more than reasonable. That is a very nice price to be on something brand spanking new. And I just thought, you know what? I love it. I love I love competition. I love helping the little guy. I just love it all, and I'm more than willing to do it. So, like I said, they asked about me doing a video, and I may do a video in the future. Talking about their product, which I'm more than willing to do for anybody. But I thought, you know what, I have the ability now to just a few friends I have there on Facebook. I'm more than willing to, and on the Kart 63 Facebook, I share it on there, and I put stuff on here, and I want to help. That's the entire intent of whether it be UAS or clone racing or whoever getting into the sport. I want to help as much as I possibly can. So if you were curious, I thought I'd mention it because sometimes people are like, why is he doing that? But what time is it getting to be? Oh yeah, look at that. Been on an hour already, huh? Oh, it's not too cold out here yet. Yeah, I do have to find. I don't know what video I'm gonna do Sunday. Here's a little behind the inside baseball. I have a ton of ideas for videos, but until sometimes right before I walk out to record it, I don't know what I'm doing. I just let it go. Let my mind free flow, and it works the best for me. I am not a very regimented type of person. I don't have with the exception of going to the gym. I go to the gym for an hour a day. With the exception of that, I go to work, I go to the gym, and that's that. Dinner, okay. But other than that, I'm not, I'm too ADD to be paying attention to things. Sometimes I walk out here and that board still reads what it did last week, like it is right now. And I wipe that off, I sit there and I go, huh, okay, and then I write something down and I turn on the camera and I friggin' roll with it. There's some inside baseball. So if you think that by chance, just like, oh, he has these all scheduled out, I don't. I don't. I did it at the very beginning. Like I batch recorded a bunch of videos and had them all scheduled and ready to roll, and it was okay. But I don't know. I like to, if something pops up in the industry or I read something or something just cues into my head, like somebody needs to know about that, or, let's talk about this topic or that topic, or, you know, it's more organic for me to do it that way. So that's how I do that. But all right, guys. Yeah, it's been an hour, a little over an hour. It's amazing how quickly, to me anyway. I don't know if you guys notice it, but I get yammering on here, and then also I look up, and I got a little counter right there. That tells me how long I've been on, and it's just like, holy crap, that's an hour, I suppose. But yeah, we'll see temperature wise if I'm out here. Not that you guys care, or if I'm in the house next week. If it gets too much colder, though, I'm definitely not going to want to do this crap. I don't like seeing my own breath as much as I live in the north. I don't like snow. I don't like the cold. So it is what it is. All right. I appreciate all of you coming by. I always post this up for replay on Facebook. So thanks, guys. I will see you Sunday for a new video, and then we'll come back here. We'll do a live again next week. All right. Bye.